Bigger is better. At least that is what we know to be the natural progression for things that are being updated, for things that are constantly evolving. And so it should be the case with the new Maruti Suzuki Swift, the beloved hatchback which was updated and launched in India just a few days ago. But interestingly, when you talk about the engine, it's missing one combustion chamber. So how has that affected the new Swift? Is it still swift to drive? And what are the interior features like? Let's get to know today. So, how exactly is the engine performance of the new Swift and how does it feel to drive? Well, first of all, things don't look too great because it has lost about 8 bhp and about 2 Newton meters compared to the previous K series engine. But as we know, the spec sheet only tells half of the story. In actual practice, now once you do start off driving this car, yes, you will notice the lack of power, and the problem is that below 3000 rpm there is very less grunt in the engine, and you actually, while you are driving on the highway, let's say for example, and if you want to overtake, you do have to downshift, and then also the engine does take a little while before it can give you enough punch to overtake the car up ahead of you. However, one thing which I really like is the refinement of this unit, because despite being a 3-cylinder engine, I was expecting it to be very vibey and very harsh to drive, but that is not the case. Maruti has done their signature move and provided a car that is very easy, very gentle, and very well to drive. Now the engine, like I said, has minimal vibrations compared to other 3-pot engines in the market. Only when you wring its neck, when you are at higher RPMs, will you hear a slightly annoying noise. The K series engine also used to make some noise, but that was a sound that I actually liked. That was a more refined sound. This one, not as much. So that is one small area where maybe they can improve a little bit. But with 3 people in the car, we have been driving since morning and it has no problem doing highway speeds. So if you want a compact car which can do your city runs as well as highway ones, then this is pretty fantastic. And let me also tell you about the gearbox, because we've been driving the 5-speed manual unit, and boy is it an easy to work with gearbox. The clutch action is light, the gears shift smoothly, and basically at no point will it fight you, and it's not going to be a bother. Like, even if you do not go, this is one of the few cars where I can say that even if you do not go for an automatic version, I don't think you will mind that too much, because this is so well to work with. And now let's talk about the aspect which you won't get to know from the spec sheet, but do not fear, for I am here. I will tell you. The driving dynamics of this new Swift are pretty sorted. It drives so well. The steering wheel is pretty responsive. When you turn from left to right, it will comply with your inputs almost instantly. And the suspension tuning along with the tires is such that you do get a decent amount of confidence when you are pushing this car. We even took it to some slightly soft road kind of conditions, and even there the car performed really well. So the driving dynamics of this new Swift are pretty sorted. If you want a good handling car, then you can definitely hop in a new Swift and see how good it is yourself. Now, whatever this engine lacks in the low end, it more than makes up for it in the higher revs. Let me just shift down one gear and show you. As the revs build up, now I'm past 4000 rpm and you can hear the engine, and it just keeps going. It keeps going. 5000, 5500, it's reaching 6000 rpm, and you don't feel like it's straining the engine as much. So you will really like revving this engine. It's one of those units where the higher up you are in the rev band, the more enjoyment it will deliver to you. And lower down, I think that also plays to the dual character of this car, that lower down it's much more gentle. Like if you're stuck in city traffic, then this will easily be a very smooth and refined engine to play around with, and it's not going to give you too much worries when you're stuck in those stop-go traffic situations. So it's not going to be jumpy at those slower speeds, but Yes, when you are on the highway, when you have an open stretch of road ahead of you like we have right now, then foot down to the floor and off you go. On the inside, the cabin has been heavily updated, and you can see that it looks a lot more upmarket than it used to before. Not that the previous model was shabby, but this one takes it a notch higher, and this is where bigger is better comes in, because especially you get this bigger 9-inch SmartPlay Pro Plus screen, which supports wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and this is a floating unit, and you have a semi-digital instrument cluster. While it in itself is nothing too revolutionary, I did like the small touch that the dials here have the hub of the dials. You know, it has this sporty kind of design, which I really appreciate. Other bits which are important are the AC controls. You have the air vents over here, and I really like this kind of silver trim that is there to separate the dashboard, and even the dashboard itself, even though it's all hard plastic everywhere, it has these layers which differentiate the separate parts of the dashboard and give it a nice and dynamic look. You also now get a wireless charger, so if your smartphone supports that technology, then this is great news for you. However, Maruti has interestingly not given a center armrest whatsoever, so that is still missing. That is one thing which I think the company could have easily integrated into the design of the new Swift. Talking about the space, well, you can see I'm 6 feet tall and I have enough legroom and headroom, so you can see there is quite a bit of headroom for me, and this is going to be a comfortable place because even the seat cushion is pretty nice, and I am pretty thin and I'm still feeling like the seats are holding me nicely, so that way it's pretty good. You also get height adjustment for the driver's seat, so you can change it to your liking. And the touchscreen is also paired with an Arkami sound system, something which we have seen in more premium offerings, and the sound system did impress us in our pretty short testing. The SmartPlay system also supports Suzuki Connect, so you get connected car tech with this car now, so it's pretty much space age in that regard. Now let's talk about the second row, and well, this is no chauffeur driven car, but if you plan to have 3 more people with you, then this second row is going to be pretty comfortable for them. It's decent. The seat cushion I really like. Once again, the backrest angle could have been a little more relaxed, but you do get 2 adjustable head restraints, so that is good. The center passenger does not get a head restraint of their own, and you even have a small transmission tunnel, which should be clear indication that this second bench is not meant for 3 people. We tried seating 3 people, and while you can fit them in, but it's not very comfortable, so I would recommend 2 people traveling in comfort. In terms of legroom, you can see I have pretty decent. The front seat is adjusted according to my driving preference, and I even have a little bit of knee room. The under thigh support, while not terrible, could have been slightly better, but I'm not complaining too much about that. You get a 1 liter bottle holder on either side of the doors, and crucially, you also get second row AC vents, so when you're driving in summer, this second row is going to be quite nice, temperature regulated. Plus you also get 2 USB ports over here, which are a little hard to reach, but on the bright side you have both a Type A and a Type C socket over there, because not all people have moved to Type C, so it's good to see a Type A port as well. And there is also a small cavity where you can probably place your smartphone if you want. You can put something on and put it over there. Just like the front row now, sadly you do not get an armrest over here. So again, a small miss considering that this is actually comfortable for 2 people, so giving an armrest would have made things a little more appropriate, considering, like I said, you can seat 2 people. Overall, I think the second row has improved compared to before, but it's still not the most spacious, let's say, and if you want space, then you would anyways be looking at some other competitors. And finally, let's talk about the design of the new Swift. you can see that it has received minor tweaks. Yes, it's not a revolution in terms of design, but a slight evolution. It looks a little more refined. At the front especially, you will notice these new headlamp units and these boomerang shaped DRLs, which are a little higher up. They don't sit on the edge. So this unit also is an all LED setup. In fact, all around you will notice that this car gets LED lighting now, which is a nice step up. You look at the grille, it has this glossy black finish. Gone is the chrome-like strip which used to be across it. Now you have an all black unit, and if you like it, then you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Let us know in the comments where you sit on the design of the new Swift. Then lower down you see this black unit which has been separated to give it a slightly sporty look. Even the fog lamps are not rounded anymore, they are a bit more squarish to give it a little more pizzazz. What I do not like at the front is this. You see the bonnet, when you've closed it, this is properly closed, and this still leaves quite a bit of gap, which does not exactly look great. However, these 15-inch alloy wheels, they look absolutely perfect. When the light hits them just right, they look really nice and shiny, and I must say they're built quite well. The quality also, even on closer inspection, looks pretty good, so that they have really got it down. Also, another change is this: the door handle is now here, it's not up here. Some people liked that quirky design, some did not. Again, one more reason why you should comment down below and tell us if you like the old door handle style or not. Now let's move to the back. And here at the back, well, it's a pretty simple affair, but you do get these new tail lamp units with these black inserts, again to give that sporty kind of touch. But what I really like is when you look closely, they have quite a lot of detail within them, and needless to say, they look really good. Other than that, there's not much to talk about except for the fact that you have this crease running over here. And what I noticed interestingly is that if you compare it with the previous generation Swift, at the front, if you compare the two cars, the newer car looks a little more simple, looks a bit more rounded, while the older one had a bit more depth, more creases at the front. But when you come to the back, it's role reversal. Now this one looks a lot more dynamic, and that one looks a little bit plain. And once you've seen the car from all four angles, you will notice that this line is actually important because this crease runs across, and that is one of the reasons why the bonnet is slightly higher up. So there is a reason behind it. So if you look at it from all four sides, that crease runs along from the front to the side to the back and on the other side as well. And also you can see we have this in this dual tone color. The roof is black, so this gives it a floating effect, which also adds to how dynamic the new Swift looks. Overall, I think this is a design which is going to fit on Indian roads really well. And Maruti, while they have not changed the design a lot, I think customers are looking for a sense of familiarity when it comes to products like the Swift, and they have retained that. And so after having driven the Swift and seeing it closely in the flesh, I can say that it is a smart looking vehicle. The interior has been updated quite well. You get a lot more modern day features, and the added safety of 6 airbags from the base model is a very welcome change. So that way Maruti has done a great job. The only part where things get a little tricky is when you talk about the engine performance. Low down, it does feel like it's a bit underpowered, and you wish that there was a more powerful engine in this Swift. But higher up, this engine redeems itself, and the amazing gearbox and clutch combination with that engine makes this worth driving. And despite all my complaints about the lack of power on paper, I had no problem driving it throughout the day. I've been driving it on the highway, through the twisty sections, even took it to this slightly soft roadish location, and through it all, the Swift was pretty fun to drive. It was Swift in that regard for sure. Yes, you might not be chasing any big top speed numbers with this, but then this is a car that can double up as a family hatch, which fits in your parking easily without giving you any trouble of those bigger SUVs, and will fit in your budget as well, because it starts from about 6.5 lakh rupees. Now that is the introductory price, which will probably go up, but right now, considering the safety that you get in the base model, it is pretty good. However, once again, the party is spoiled a little, and not by any external competition. I believe it's the Baleno that's the biggest threat to the Swift right now, because by paying a little bit more, you get the old K-series engine, you get a little bit more space, and you get similar sort of features. Now, it depends if you like the Baleno's design or if you want to spend that extra bit or not. However, in itself, I am really impressed by what the Swift has to offer, and despite the small niggles, I had fun driving it, and I look forward to maybe driving it a little more some days down the line. This is Aakash Paul for now, signing off. Hope you liked this review. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. It really encourages us. Comment down below if you have any questions about the Swift or if you have any feedback. We are listening. And make sure that you are subscribed to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you are notified every time we upload a car review like this, a launch video, a bike review, a feature. We have a lot of content on our channel. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.